This conference will now be recorded.
In last session, we were discussing about what is a Docker file, what are the instructions in a Docker file, what is the use of each and every instruction we discussed, and also we were discussing about how to troubleshoot also. You are creating image, your image out of that image you are creating a container, and if your container is not in a running state, do you need to verify whether you have given correct CMD or entry point or not? You need to verify. If it is not properly given, you need to correct that one. Even though you have given correct CMD, do you need to make you have that software or application or that package which is part of that image? If you don't have that software, that package or library as part of that image, you need to make sure you have that software downloaded to the image. So I have given an assignment also. I see approximately, I think 10 people has done that assignment. What about rest of the others? If you don't take assignments and practice seriously, as a trainer cannot do anything else. You have to be serious about the assignments, about the course, about the training. If you are aware, it is clear that you are not serious about your career, your job also. If you are not serious about assignments, you are not serious about your job. Guys, getting a job is not simple if you don't practice, you don't do the assignments. Simple. I can't say more than this. We are spending a lot of time here to explain each and every topic in detail, and at the same time, if you don't do the practice and assignments, I can't do anything. So this is the last chance. Now let's get continue. Now I was not speaking, guys. So I was just on hold for some time. Am I audible? No, I was not speaking. You were saying no voice. Okay. So let's get continue. Assignments, it's up to you. Cannot force more than this. Now we discussed about Docker file and all the instructions. Now let's understand the best practices. Best practices to be followed while creating a image. While creating a image, what are the best practices to be followed while creating a image? Before I discuss about best practices, let me show you some sample Docker files. I'll just show you some sample Docker files. I want you to explain what is the outcome of the Docker file. What I will have in the image if I create an image out of the Docker file. Now, let me show you this. Let me show you this. Now, this is one of the Docker file. And if I create an image out of this Docker file, what I will be having in that image? If I start the container out of that image, what process will be started in that image? Process will be started in the container. This is one sample file. What I will be having out of that image? So I will be having, I'm taking Ubuntu as a base, Ubuntu as a base. On top of Ubuntu, am I installing Java, something like this? Yes. Then am I downloading tar file, the Tomcat tar file out of this? Then I am extracting the tar file and I have given CMD like this. Now let me try to create an image out of this Docker file. Let me try to create an image out of this Docker file. So let me connect to one of my server. Let me connect to one of my server, build server. Let me connect to this server. Now let me go to that Docker files lab and let me create some Docker file. Let me delete everything, whatever I have in this Docker file. So this is my Docker file content now. If I create an image, sorry, if I create an image out of this Docker file, let's see what it comes. Docker build -t. I'm saying something like this. Maybe you can give something like this also. If you want to tag with your registry, your custom Tomcat, let's say something like this you are giving. Now using that Docker file, I'm creating an image. Let's see whether that image creation is successful or failure. Let's wait and see. It is installing. It is installing required software like Java. Let's see. Now, if you see, it has created some image. But do you think your image creation is successful or your image creation is failed? Image creation is failed at at this level. At this level, it is failed. So here it is failed. So why it is failed? What could be the reason? Let's maybe I'm using run with a wget, and this is my URL. Can I see whether we have that is a valid endpoint to download the tar file now? Is it a valid endpoint to download the tar file? If you see, as of now, is this URL is working? No. So can I get the new URL, like whatever URL in which I can download? Something like this. Maybe I will use this link address. Now in my Docker file, can I update that? Now here I can update that in my Docker file. So here I am going to update this URL. I am updating that URL like this. If you see, I am downloading like this. But here, do I need to update something here also, because I am downloading 8.5.78. But here I am referring something else. Here I am referring something else. So do I need to update? 8.5.78. Let me update in the other line also. Now let me build the image. Let me build the image. Now is it downloaded, extracted? Is image is created successfully? Now this image, whatever image I created, this image, can I push this image to my registry and can I use that as a base image in any other application? If I want Tomcat, can I use this as a base image for any other application as a Tomcat base image if required also? So this way, will you able to customize, will you able to create your own base images, will you able to customize your base images on your own, will you able to create your base images also in the Docker file if you want to customize the software? Will you able to create base images for any requirement also? Yes. Now, similarly, let me show you some other sample Docker file. Let me show you some other sample Docker file. Just to demonstrate Docker files, I kept all these things. Now this one. So what do you understand from this Docker file? What I am trying to do using this Docker file? What I am trying to do by looking at this Docker file? You should be at least able to explain now, because you know each and every instruction. Come on, guys. Tell me what we are trying to do. So here I'm using this as a base image. Here I'm using Tomcat as a base image. When this run instruction will be executed? When this run instruction will be executed? While creating a image itself, does this run instruction will be executed? While creating a image itself, this instruction will be executed. So I am using SCD. SCD. So I already Tomcat users.xml in this location. From where I'm getting the Tomcat users.xml? How come the Tomcat users.xml is part of this folder in the image? Because is it part of your base? Are you getting a Tomcat from this base image? And in this Tomcat users.xml, am I editing using SCD? Am I inserting this line? This line, before this line is ending. Before this line is ending. This SCD, you know SCD already. So if I execute this SCD with the help of run, while creating a image itself, does this file will be updated with this line? So wherever I create a container, does the Tomcat will have this username and password as a Tomcat username and password wherever I create, do I have the Tomcat process up and running again? So will I have a Tomcat process up and running, and will the Tomcat have that username and password again? Yes. So even though container is deleted and recreated, do I have a Tomcat again, that new container again? Will I have that user? Do I have that configuration in this file? Even though container is deleted and recreated, do you have this configuration again in the new container? Yes. Because this I am doing while building the image itself. Now this line you already know. This line you already know. You are copying your code to the image. If I don't want to do like this, can I have my own Tomcat users.xml in the build context? And can I copy using copy instruction? Can I completely override this file with my own Tomcat users.xml from my build context also, if required? Yes. So I have commented this. But I am using run with SED just to make you understand what this does. So using run, can I execute anything, any command while building the image itself? Yes. This is one Docker file. Now similarly, let me show you some other Docker files also. Now this is one more Docker file. This is one more Docker file. What I'm trying to do using this Docker file, will you able to explain what I'm doing with this Docker file? What is this Docker file does? So I am using this as a base image. I am using this as a base image. So will I get JBoss or Wildfly software from this base image, Java along with the Wildfly or JBoss software? On top of that JBoss software, am I deploying my application into JBoss? In JBoss or Wildfly, in which folder we are going to deploy? I think you already know. The way we have a web apps folder in Tomcat, do we have a similar type of folder in JBoss like this, deployments folder? So in this location, I have a JBoss software. Here I am copying my WAR file. So with this, will I able to deploy my application in a JBoss instead of Tomcat? Yes. Now, this one is another example just to demonstrate. Again, here I am using JBoss only. JBoss only. In the JBoss, the way you have a users concept in Tomcat, if you want to access management console of Tomcat, do you need to have a Tomcat user defined in the Tomcat user.xml to access management console of Tomcat? Yes. Similarly, in JBoss also you have a management console. If you want to access that JBoss management console, do you need some username and password to access that JBoss management console? Yes. But in JBoss, how to add that username and password? It is not a XML file. You need to execute one script, add user.sh script, so that you can add a username and password. So is this a software? I mean to say, is this a script is already part of your JBoss software library? Yes. So using run, I am executing that script with this username, with this password. This is one option. because no human interaction. There is no human interaction. So if I run this using run instruction, while creating a image itself, do I have a one username and password to access JBoss console? Yes. And what is this CMD? What is this CMD? Why you are overriding that CMD here? Because if it is a management console, you want to access JBoss management console, JBoss has to be started with some different arguments. JBoss has to be started with some different arguments. So this is my JBoss base image, let's say. This is my JBoss base image, JBoss slash wildfly, JBoss slash wildfly. So this is my base image. So the Docker file you can see here, the Docker file of that JBoss base image you can see here. So this is the Docker file of JBoss. Again, if you see, again, are they using Java as a base to create their JBoss image? If you see, are they using some JDK base image and using env? Are they setting environment variables? What is the JBoss home directory and user root? These commands will be executed as a root user. If you see, using this run instruction, are they downloading JBoss star file, extracting the JBoss star file? Do you see these commands? Extracting, renaming, changing the ownership, changing the mode for the JBoss directories within the image? Yes. Again, what this command is doing? What this command is doing? Again, are they changing the user as a JBoss? Now, this is the default command. This is the default CMD. So as a which user, the JBoss process will be started. Now, if this command will be executed as a which user? JBoss user. But you may have a question. Sir, I don't see JBoss user created anywhere here. How come that is there? I don't see any command where user add or user that group add. Where that is? That might be coming from the base image itself. Now, this is the default command. But I want to access in a management console also. So that's why, if required, can I override my CMD like this with some other arguments like this? If I want to access the management console, I need to start JBoss process with some other options. So that's why, can I override my CMD like this? This is the default CMD. Instead of this, if I have the CMD like this in my own Docker file, does this will be executed while starting the container? Yes. So this is one sample I just want to showcase. Like this, suppose this is one more Docker file. What is this Docker file is? If I create an image out of this Docker file, what I will be having? Does a web server, Nginx web server, does Nginx also will run as a container? Does this Nginx web server software also can run as a container? So this is some sample Docker file. I just kept all these samples just to make you understand Docker file. But are you going to have a n number of Docker files for each project, or only one Docker file for each project? I mean to say each microservice or application or project. Are you going to have like this n number of Docker files? No. Only one Docker file for each application. Now this is one application. This is one application. Do I have a Docker file for one application? This application, one Docker file like this. Now, using this Docker file, if I create an image, does that image will have softwares with my application code like this? But if you want to install any additional software, you need to customize. Can I use required instructions like run, copy, any other instructions to customize? as per your requirements? Yes. Now, what are the best practices to be followed while creating an image? One is use Alpine base images wherever it's possible. Wherever it's possible, use Alpine base images. So what is this Alpine image first? What is Alpine? What is Alpine image? What is Alpine image? So Alpine is one Linux distribution. Alpine is one Linux distribution, very lightweight Linux. If you see, we have Alpine images also. Alpine. So you have a normal Alpine, you have a Alpine Git, Alpine Java also, like OpenJDK Alpine, like that you have. So what is this Alpine? What is this Alpine? If you read about this, what is Alpine? Alpine is a Linux distribution. The image is only 5 MB in size. So if I use Alpine base image instead of Ubuntu base or CentOS base, if I use Alpine base, what is that base image size? If you see, guys, please be on mute. Don't unmute. What is the size of that Alpine? Only 5 MB. So it's very lightweight container base image. If you see, if I use Alpine base image and if I install some package like this, Alpine package manager is APK. Something like this, I can add some libraries. APK add some library like this. If I use Alpine base image and same software I am using with Ubuntu base image, if you see this Alpine base image, with this software only 36 MB in size. But same if I use Ubuntu base image, what is the size of the same software with Ubuntu base? If you see, guys, please be on mute. Ashish, please be on mute. Don't make background noise. And people are joining from mobile. We are already told multiple times we are against joining the classes from mobiles. This is not a movie or this is not a comedy show. You can join from anywhere, roaming around the roads, sleeping in the bed and watching in the mobile. Don't take it like this. We already told multiple times, don't join from mobile. People are roaming, sleeping and just joining from the mobile and watching. This is not a TV show or movie. I really, we are really against to those type of, people. Don't join from mobiles. Now, let's continue. The size of this software will be very huge in size, but same software 36 MB. So, can we use Alpine image to reduce the size of the images? If the size is less, if the image size is less, will I able to quickly push and pull the images to the registries? And also, will I have some better performance in the containers when the image size is very less? Yes. So wherever it is possible, use Alpine images. But it is not mandatory, it's good to use. Not only here, if I need some node software, in the node software also do I have some Alpine images? So something like this. Node also with some Alpine images. Suppose if I take this images within the Node.js also, we have something like this. Within the Node.js also, you have some tags, Alpine tags. Now, if I use this Alpine tags, will I have very lightweight Node.js software as part of that Alpine? Because Alpine itself is a lightweight. you will have a bare minimal files. So Alpine base image you can use something like this. Suppose if I use node, something like this, node, something like this. Am I going to get Node.js this version software with Alpine as a base? Just to make you understand, let me go inside this project. We already have a Node.js application. Here, am I using Alpine base? No. If you see, what is the image size of that Node.js application which we already created? I think I have deleted. Let me build that again. I'm creating the image again. If you see that image, it is more, I think 900 MB size. 900 MB size. Now instead of that one, if I use Alpine base image, will I have some little, lesser in the size when it comes to the image? Alpine base? Yes. So I can use Alpine base image, something like this. Let me show you. Now if I see the size of this image, whatever I created, if you see what is the size of that image, 924. Now I don't want to use this image. Can I use some Alpine image based on your requirement? Whatever version of Node.js with whatever I can use. If you don't have this Node.js software with Alpine, can you create your own Node.js image by using Alpine as a base? On top of that Alpine, can you install Node.js software? If I don't have this one, can I use Alpine as a base, Alpine Linux as a base? On top of that, can I install Node software and can I use my own custom image also if required? Yes. Now I have this Node.js Alpine. Now let me build. Let me build the image. Now I am using this now. In the Node.js repository, there is an Alpine image with this one. Now let me use this. It is giving warning because I have some old files in that one. I can delete this file because this is very old version of that file. Now if required, I can delete because this is the latest version of Node.js. My application is using very old version of the Node.js, but I am using latest version of the Node.js. That's why it is giving some kind of a warnings. It is giving some kind of a warnings because my application is using the old version of Node.js. Because in this Docker, in this Node.js project, I have a package.json. I have a package.json. So I might be using some old version in that package.json. So here I was using old version. If I delete all these things, application related, it will not give a warning. But for now, it is just a warning. It has created an image, that is fine. Now you see the size of that application now. How much size that image is there. The where I have used Alpine image. You see, is it very less in size compared to the other image, base image? So by using Alpine images, can I reduce the size of the images? Alpine is very lightweight. Wherever it is possible, use Alpine images. That is one best practice. The lesser in size, do you have a better performance while building, while pushing, while pulling? And also, Does this container will take more memory, more CPU when we are running? Also, no. Container also will take very less CPU, less memory when we are using these type of images. So use Alpine images wherever it's possible. Is everyone clear what is the meaning of Alpine and what is the Alpine image? Now, next one, use only official images. Use only official images from Docker Hub. What is the meaning of official images? Whatever images are tagged as official, or whatever images are built and managed by the official community. Now let's come to this Docker Hub. I have a Tomcat. I have hundreds of Tomcat images. This is also one Tomcat. This is also one Tomcat image. But all these images, is it official Tomcat images? Suppose this one, is it official Tomcat image? Is it official Tomcat image? No. If required, can I create my own Tomcat image? Can I push it to Docker Hub? Yes. But that is not an official image. That is not an official image. Official in the sense the community, the people who is owning that software has to be publish the image. Why we should not use unofficial images? Is unofficial images are trusted? I mean to say, can we trust unofficial images? Security wise, can I trust? Not secured one, because you don't know that, guys. Just to make it simple, will you go and talk to any random guy, right? No. Suppose you want to go for some vacation, some trip. Are you going to go with the random guys? No, right? The guy whom you should know, only you will go. This type of unofficial images are not trusted, which means can they have their own softwares and code in this image? That software or code, will it able to tamper your data or hack your data if you are using this your image? So we should not use any unofficial images. If you don't have any official image for your software, you are looking for your own software, but that is not available as an official image. Can you create your own image by taking everything from scratch? Like you can take Alpine as a base, that Alpine official as a base, or you can take Ubuntu as a base. On top of that base, using run instruction, all these instruction will be able to configure, install your own software if you don't have that software sufficiently available. Yes. So don't use unofficial images. Security wise, it is not suggestible. Now, don't install, don't install or copy unnecessary files or packages in the image. What does it mean? Don't install and copy unnecessary files or packages or softwares in the image. What does it mean? Suppose I want to run one application. For that application, whatever minimal softwares is required, only those softwares should be part of image. Suppose if I keep installing unnecessary softwares in that image, I am copying unnecessary files which are not at all used. Again, does image size will be very huge? Again, and does your container will also impacted? Does your container will become again heavyweight? Does your container also will take lot of CPU, lot of memory if you have unnecessary softwares in the image? So does your performance of the container, does the performance of the container, within the container you have your application also, will that also impacted if you have unnecessary softwares files? So don't copy or don't install unnecessary files. You should have a bare minimal software and configurations to run your application. And also one more important, try to reduce the number of layers as much as possible. Try to reduce the number of layers of the image as much as possible. How can I reduce the layers as much as possible? Here, let me show you the general mistakes people are doing. The general mistakes people are going to do. Let me show you. If I have some Docker file for that, let me show you. Maybe this one itself. Let me use this one itself. I can run this one in a different way also. I can run this in a different way. Can I have something like this? Can I have something like this? Can I have something like this? Instead of having like this, this is also going to work. This is also going to work. There is no problem. There is no problem with this one. This is also going to work. But is it a good practice? Why it is not a good practice? Does each and every instruction, guys, including env also, is it creating one layer? If I inspect any image, not in history, if you have env also, is it creating one layer? There is one layer, but no size. The size is very less. Nothing, because that is just an environment variable. That is one layer, but no size. Now, which means, does this will create one layer, this will create one layer, this will create another layer? Yes. So does the number of layers will be increased when we have like this? But same thing, can I group multiple related instructions? Can I group related run instructions into a single run instruction like this? Instead of writing like this, can I have something like this? For better readability, you can have a escaping character. For better readability, you can have a escaping character. Can I have something like this also? Instead of 4 run instructions, can I do in a single run instruction like this? Here also I need to use a double ampersand, something like this. Related, which doesn't mean do everything like this, related run instructions. Some operations, some installations which are related, keep it in one run instruction, which doesn't mean write everything into single run. Related. So will it reduce the number of layers by combining multiple run instructions into a instructions like this? Yes. So the more layers you have, unnecessary performance issues or size issues will come. So try to reduce the number of layers as much as possible. How can I reduce? Maybe I can use Alpine base images, one thing, and another one is I can combine multiple run instructions into a single run instruction like this. This is one more thing. And next one, we already told run your process. That is basically, process is nothing but application. Any process, any application. As which user? As a non-root user. As a non-root user. So if I am running as a non-root user, if I go inside the container, will I able to execute any commands like installing softwares within the container without permissions? No. This is also security best practice. This is also security best practice. When you are running your container, make sure you are running your container process as non-root user, something like this. You guys have already created Jenkins images. Using Jenkins user, you are started the process. Can anyone ping me the image name, registry name along with the image details? I'll create a container and show that. If you are running as a non-root user, how it will prevent security. So someone, Sujana, let's use your image. Now I am creating a container out of your image. I hope you used that user concept in this. So I'm going inside that image. I'm creating a container first. I'm creating a container out of that image. I'm not doing any port forwarding, all those things. Now it is pulling the image. Now I see lot of layers. Try to combine multiple run instructions related into one layer. Now one more. The more issues, the more subject you learn. Now, am I able to create a container? Now, when I execute Docker run, is container is created successfully? No. Now I am getting this error. No space left in the device. What does it mean? While creating a container, it is trying to pull the images, image layers. Do I need to have some enough storage? Space is different. Space in the sense storage. It is not related to memory. Do I need to have enough storage to download and keep these layers in this server? So do I have that enough space now? How much is available as of now? How much is available? This is my root storage. That varlib Jenkins is also part of the root storage. It is not using any other additional storage. Is varlib docker is part of the root disk itself? Yes. Now it is not part of any other storage and this much is available. Now I am not able to pull image. I may not able to create image also. Now how can I clean up this server? Now how can I fix this problem? Fixing this problem, two things. One is, do I need to increase the size of this server storage? I can increase the capacity, the storage capacity, or can I remove unnecessary files, softwares, or unnecessary images which is not at all used? Yes. Whatever you want to do. Can I use this system prune command to remove any all stopped containers or unused dangling images? Dangling images. So there are very less space used, so I don't get much space. So I will delete images. I will delete images because it is not going to delete images. Dangling images only it is deleting. So let me remove all these images. Sometimes in the interview, what type of issues you'll get? Issue can be anything, guys. You may have a storage issue, you may have a network issue. Issue can be anything. Whatever you are facing, this is, can I call this one also as one issue? Now I am not able to create a container. What type of issues? Issue can be anything. That can be storage, that can be network, anything. Now, do I have enough storage now? At least 3.9 GB is available. Now let me create a container out of that image. As I already told, if you read the message, 50% of the solution is available in the message itself, that error message. But you need to understand the message. Guys, I am getting this error. First, read that error message and use Google widely, guys. Use Google widely. Suppose I am getting this message, no space left on the device. What does it mean? Can I understand at least 70%? Now, with this itself, you should be able to understand 50%. If I use Google, I can understand 80%, right? Then you can understand what is the problem, how do I fix no space left. If you are seeing insufficient storage, that no space left in the sense, you are used most of the your storage is different, memory is different. First read the error message. 90% of the 50% at least you can understand from the message itself. In the beginning, fine. When you joined as in a DevOps course, in the beginning it is fine. You can just whatever you are getting error message, you can keep post the error message in the group. But already you reached some stage, you should be able to understand what is that error. At least read. First read what is that error. If you are understanding that error message, you can find the solution easily. Troubleshoot you can easily. But at the end of the course also you are posting, sir, I am getting this error without reading. Once you get into a job, are you going to post similarly to the your lead, your project manager, whatever issue you are getting? You can discuss with your lead, you are discussing with your manager, but not like a small issues. You can discuss any issue with your lead, guys. You can discuss any issue with your manager also. But before you go to the manager, before you go to the lead, do you need to do your assessment first? I am getting this error. What and all things you have done to identify or fix the problem? Basic analysis. You need to do preliminary analysis, basic analysis. I am getting this issue, sir. So I tried all these ways, but still that issue is not resolved. Then you can go. But doing your analysis, without doing your analysis, if you directly go, what manager will think? What lead will think? He will ask you. So you are getting this issue fine, but what and all things you have done to identify, troubleshoot? If you say no, sir, nothing I have done. I am just taking this screenshot and I am giving it to you. 1 or 2 times, that's fine. But if you are doing like 10 times, 15 times, same thing, does manager or lead will have a confidence on you? He will feel that you don't have any subject. So read the error messages as much as possible. Understand the error messages. Then do some kind of analysis on your own. Then you can go to anyone. So I got this message. I tried this way. I'm not able to identify the problem and fix the problem. Can you help me? Then they will help you. Okay. So read the error messages, guys. That is also one important point to be remembered when you are in IT or anything. Now let's continue. I created a container out of this image. Now if I go inside the container, if I go inside this container, as a which user that process is running, if you see here, as a which user that process is running, this Jenkins process is running as a which user? Jenkins. Now, if I do something like this, will I able to do? Now, if you see, am I able to do something like this now? Somehow I get into this container. Somehow I get into this server and somehow I am able to go inside my container where my application is running. Now, will I able to corrupt any data like a root user? Will I able to install any softwares like this? But instead of normal user, same process you are running as a root user. Does this command work? So is it a best practice to run your container process as a non-root user, root user? No. So it is recommended to run as a, non-root user. Now one more thing, try to do vulnerability scanning. Vulnerability scanning. Try to scan your images. Try to scan your Docker images to identify vulnerabilities. What is the meaning of vulnerabilities? To identify vulnerabilities. What is the meaning of vulnerabilities? Kind of a threats or loopholes, kind of a threats. The way you guys are scanning, Java code you guys scanned, Node.js code also you have scanned. Did you guys done the scanning of this Java code and Node.js code using some static code analysis tools? Which one you use to scan the Java code and Node.js code? You already done that. What software you use to scan this Java code, Node.js code? SonarQube. So similarly, can I scan my Docker images also, whether the Docker image has any package, any software that is marked as vulnerable? If you have that software in that image, it might be threat to you. So can I scan my images also to identify that vulnerable packages like softwares? That can be any software which is going to cause a threat to your security. So can I identify those type of things using Docker scanning, Docker image scans? So you have some softwares. You have some softwares for doing this one also. One is Claire. Claire. So there is one software called Claire. Claire. So vulnerability static analysis for containers, which means images. Using this Claire software, by installing this Claire software, with the help of this Claire software, will I able to do the static code analysis image scanning? Claire is an open source project for the static analysis of vulnerabilities in containers, which means images. Using this Claire software, will I able to do the scanning? Yes. Like this, you have some softwares. Claire is one, and another one. If I have a ECR, if I am using ECR, does ECR has a inbuilt scanning? If I want to scan, can I enable the scanning in ECR itself? If I am using ECR, it comes with inbuilt image scanner. If I am using ECR, if you see, I created a repository here, or while creating a repository also you can create repository. While creating a repository, do I have one option called image scan settings, scan on the push? If I enable this one, is it going to scan that image and identify is there any vulnerabilities in that image? So this is also one of the practice you need to follow. If you want to scan the images, it will scan and give the results. Do you have any vulnerable softwares? Again, while creating an image itself, can I remove that vulnerable software or file or package again? Using run instructions or any other instruction, can I again run that instructions to remove that vulnerable packages or softwares again? Can I correct that Docker file? Again, using run, can I remove some file which is listed as a vulnerable file, or can I remove like this? Example for threats is like running your container as a root user. Can I call that also as one threat? Can I call that also one as threat? And having some software, unofficial software, that is not a trusted software. You are having that unofficial software in your image. Can I call that also as a threat to your image? All those things are security threats. So can I identify those security threats? Now DevSecOps, you might have heard the term called DevSecOps. So what is this DevSecOps? DevOps plus security. DevOps plus security. So by using this kind of a security principles also, by using some kind of a security principles also in my DevOps, which means I will scan my source code using Sonar Cube. I will scan my Docker images using some scanning mechanisms. Can I implement DevOps plus securities? Can I call this as a DevSecOps? Just to give an example, DevSecOps, DevOps plus security operations. Using Sonar Cube, I can scan that source code. Can I call that as a security operations? As part of security, can I scan my source code? Similarly, I'm scanning my Docker image. Can I call this one also as a security practice? If I do this as part of DevOps itself, using automation itself, I can automate integration, checking the security also, like doing the Sonar Cube scan, doing the image scan. Can I call that as a security also, security operations also automation? DevSecOps. DevOps plus security automation is called as DevSecOps, nothing new. Is everyone clear? What is this? Why we need to do this? As part of the security check. So all these things has to be followed as a best practices as per your requirement. It is not mandatory. That's why we are naming it as a best practice. But is it always to write a best practice? Or is it always to follow a best practices? Guys, whether you are a developer or you are AWS infrastructure admin, you are AWS admin, or you are a DevOps guy, does everyone has to follow the best practices in whatever area of work they are doing? Developer will also will follow some best practices when he is writing the source code. As a DevOps engineer also, do you need to follow some best practices in the any tool? Jenkins will have its own best practices, Docker will have its own best practices. Do we need to follow the best practices as a DevOps engineer in that respective tool? As an AWS admin also, does he need to follow some best practices when he is creating an infrastructure and managing the infrastructure? Yes. So real time people are calling it as a real time. There is nothing called real time. Everything is a requirement. Everything is a requirement. So implementing implementing or solutioning, implementing or giving a solution that requirement with the best practices is called as real time. That's it. Implementing or solutioning that requirement with best practices is called as real time. Nothing called real time. I have some requirement. I can also write a code. You can also write a code. But what makes the difference? As a developer, I can write the code. As a developer, you can also write the code. But what makes the difference? The quality of the code, what you are writing, the quality of the code, the best practices which you are following is making the difference. So do I need to follow all the industry best practices to implement or solutioning that requirement? That can be DevOps requirement, that can be development requirement, or database requirement, or infrastructure requirement. Writing the solution or implementing the solution with best practice is important. Is everyone clear? What are the best practices to be followed while you are creating an image like this? Now, one more important point to be remembered here. Use multi-stage Docker file wherever it is possible. Use multi-stage Docker files. Multi-stage Docker file or files wherever it is possible or applicable. So what is this multi-stage Docker file? Sometimes in the interview also they are asking, what is this multi-stage Docker file? The name itself it is saying multiple stages. Multiple stages. Can I create Docker images also as a multiple stage? I'll create one stage. The outcome of that stage, can I use it as an input for another stage? The outcome of one stage, I can use it as an input to other stage. Just to give one requirement, I have this application. Just to give one requirement, I have this application. Now, this application, first what we are doing, we are creating, we are building application package first. We are building application package first. Then what we are doing after this, are we building Docker image with that application package and software? We are doing like this. First we are building this application package, which means are we doing this first? Then are we doing this? Are we doing this next? Yes. Now, one thing here, one thing here. Now I am doing like this, but is this one, am I doing outside of Docker? Which means, am I first doing in the build server itself? Am I doing this stage, this step outside of Docker? Which means, am I directly creating this application package from that build server itself, in the server itself? Yes. Which means, do I need to have a Java software, Maven software in the server if I process this outside of image creation? Do I need to have a Java software and Maven software also in that server where I am building that image? But you have different requirements. One application you need to build using Java 11, another application you want to build using Java 8, another application you want to build using Java 6, like that. Is it possible to have all those different versions of Java installed in single server? No. Now, can I do this one also as part of my image itself? While creating an image itself, can I do this one also if required? Directly in the image. Directly in the image, not in the server. Can I do this one also in the image itself? Can I execute these commands on top of the image itself like this? Can I do like this in the image itself? Can I do like this in the image itself? Provided, provided you have a software. So if I have a software, let's say I'm taking CentOS or Ubuntu, just to give an example. I'm taking Ubuntu as a base. Can I do like this? Can I do like this? Just to give an example, if I do like this, does this Maven software will be part of the image now? Now, can I do like this? Can I do like this? So what this does? What this does? Is it going to copy your source code as is? Whatever source code you have, all your pom.xml, your Java files, your web app folder, everything into the image, whatever files you have in the build context, is it going to copy to the image to this folder? Now, if I execute this mvn clean package, do I have pom.xml also? Do I have a pom.xml also, and along with my source code and everything in the image? And I have a Maven software also. Does this command will work? Will it create a package that a tar file or that var file or jar file will be part of the same image? Now, if required, can I download Tomcat? Can I download Tomcat, extract Tomcat? Can I copy something like this? Within this app folder, run cp. Within this app folder, I have a target folder. If required, can I copy to the Tomcat wherever I have downloaded Tomcat? Let's say something like this I have done. Let's say something like this I have done. Let's say something like this I have done. So I have downloaded a Tomcat, I have extracted Tomcat. Now, can I do something like this? Within my app folder, I have that var file or jar file, whatever it is, something like this. Can I copy to this web apps folder if I have downloaded Tomcat also? Now this is my CMD. This is my CMD. If required, can I install whatever version of Java I want to install here? Whatever version of Java I want to install. Yes. Now if I do like this, do I need a Java software, Maven software? This is fine, guys. Don't focus on this one. Understand the concept. Run. If I have not given R, it will not work. Don't focus on the comments. That's what I'm saying from beginning. Understand the concept. Now, if I do like this, do I need to have a Java software, Maven software, wherever I'm building the image? In that server, do I need to have? In that server, do I need to have wherever I'm building the image? If you understand the concept correctly, do I need to do this in the server? No. Without doing this also, can I directly do this? If I directly do this also with the help of this Docker file, if I directly do this, this is my Docker file. While creating an image itself, am I copying my complete source code? Am I creating a package like this? So do I need that build softwares in the server wherever I am building the image if I do like this? No. But do you think is this the correct solution for that requirement? Do you think this will work? No doubt this solution will work. But do you think is this the correct solution for that requirement? No. Why? No. The final outcome of the image, the final outcome of the image, the outcome of this Docker file, that image, will I have a Maven software? Will I have a Maven local repository, unnecessary files? Do I have a Maven softwares and Maven local repository, unnecessary files also part of the image? So do I really need a Maven software? to run this application. To run this application, do I really need a Maven software in the last image, in the final image? No. Do I need to have a .m2, that Maven repository, that Maven local repository do I need in the final image? No. So if I do like this, does my image creation will be very huge in size? The number of layers, the size of the image will be very huge. Now, can I do this same thing in a different way? Can I do this same thing in a different way with less size in the final image? Yes. That is where multi-stage Docker file comes into picture. So can I do this part in one stage? Can I do this part in one stage? The final outcome of this stage, will I copy to the next stage by removing, by dropping unnecessary other files and softwares? Can I copy only whatever is required from this stage to the next stage using multi-stage Docker concept? Yes. Now, same thing I can do in a different way. Sometimes in the interview also they'll ask a different way. They'll ask different way. Can we have more than one from instruction in a Docker file? They will come in a different way also. Can we have more than one from instruction in a Docker file? Yes, no? Yes, yes. If you have more than one from instruction in a Docker file, yes, you can have. So 90%, 99% of that, if you have that more than one from instruction, can I call that as a multi-stage Docker file? Can I call that as a multi-stage Docker file? Yes. So same thing I can do like this. So same thing I can do like this. Till here, can I do it in one stage? Till this one, can I do it in one stage? Now, can I have a one more from instruction here? I can directly take the Tomcat, your Tomcat base image, official base image also, or your own Tomcat base image. Your own Tomcat base image or your official Tomcat base image. Can I take something like this in another stage? For other stage, can I take something like this? Something like this. This is another stage. So I can take another base image like this. Now here, this is my base image. Here, can I install Maven? Suppose I need OpenJDK 8 to compile this project. Can I install OpenJDK 8 and Maven? Something like this, just to give an example. Now this is one more stage. To this stage, I can use something like this also. Copy --- from here. This one I can tag it with one stage. Here, from your registry name as build. What is this? This I am going to give as a name, stage name. Whatever give here, that is one stage name. Can I give some meaningful name like this? Build. Now here, if I tagged this stage as a build, now can I copy from this stage whatever file is required? Whatever file is required from this stage, can I copy it to the another stage by dropping everything apart except that file which I want to copy? Here, yes. So I can say copy from build in this app folder. In this app folder, will I have a target folder? Will I have that var file or jar file, whatever is generated as part of this stage? Suppose this is my var file. Now, can I copy only that var file from this previous stage? Something like this. What is this indicates, guys? If I have something like this, which means, is it trying to copy something from the previous stage? If I have something like this, --- from. Suppose if I don't have like this, If I don't have like this, which means now this is expected from where? If I don't have like this is expected from where? Is this expected from your build context, from where you are building the image? If I don't have anything like this, it will expect from the build context. But now I am giving something like this, which means here I have given build. Suppose here I have given as ABC. Do I need to use ABC here? Suppose if I give ABC, here ABC. Now I am using like this build, and here I can use build, which means is this file expected part of this stage? This stage? Yes. So I created a app folder. I copied my code. I have executed maven clean package. Does maven clean package will work? Because you have a maven software, you have a Java software, and you have your source code also in that stage. Will it create this file? Yes. Now can I copy this file to my this location from this base image? User local tomcat slash web apps folder, like this. Now this is multi-stage. Can I call this Docker file as a multi-stage Docker file? This is one stage. This is another stage. Can I call this as a multi-stage Docker file? Now the final outcome, the final image out of this Docker file, will I have only this one plus this one in the final image? Whatever I am coming from the base, whatever is getting from this base, and only from this one. Does that final image will have this maven software? Does that maven local repository files and everything? The final image, the final outcome of that image, if this is the Docker file, does the final outcome of that image will have the maven software and maven local repository files and all those things? No, because what you are copying from this stage, this is one stage name. Are you copying everything from that stage, or only this file out of that stage? Only this file, which means the final image out of this Docker file. Will I have that final image will have maven software and maven dependencies, maven local repository files in the final image? No. So if you have these type of requirements, can I use multi-stage Docker file? Using multi-stage Docker file also, can I directly do something in the Docker itself by copying only whatever is required from one stage to another stage? Using multi-stage Docker file also, can I reduce the size of the images? Can I just drop and copy whatever is required only to the image? Yes. Now, if required, you don't want to use as a Ubuntu, can I directly use Maven base here for this stage? If I have any Maven images also available, instead of you are doing like this, can I directly use Maven base image if I have any Maven images like this also? Let me show you. In the hub.docker.com, in the hub.docker.com, suppose I have a Maven. Can I use this Maven? Again, Maven has a Alpine basis also. So you have a Maven with the JDK11, JDK8, JDK7, JDK17. Based on your requirement, can I use this? If you need Java 8 with the Maven 3.8, can I use this base image? If you need Java 11 with the 3.8, can I use this base image? Now you have a Alpine also. You have a Alpine base images also. If required, can I use that as a base image for one stage? Suppose something like this. Any Alpine. If you need Alpine, you can use Alpine also. Something like this. Suppose Can I use something like this? I will be getting Maven 3.6 and JDK what if I use this one as a base image? Maven 3.6 with JDK 7. If I use this one, JDK 13, JDK 13, I have some Alpine images like this. Now I can use based on your requirement, you can use something like this. Can I use this as a base? So Maven is my repository. This is tag. So am I going to get Java plus Maven from this base now? Can I do something like this? Can I create some working directory? It will switch the directory using copy dot dot. It is going to copy all the files from the build context. Now can I write something like this? One multi-stage Docker file, something like this. Now let me show you. Let me show you. Now let's consider this is your project. This is your project. And here in this server, you don't want Java to be installed. You don't want Maven to be installed. But I want to build my application. If I write a Docker file like this, does this is expected in your build context itself? Does this target folder, does this var file is expected in your build context itself? Yes. In that case, do I need to execute this in the server first? From where you are building like this, do I need to execute in the server like this first? But if I have to do this, do I need to have a Java and Maven to be installed in this server? Yes. But let's consider this application is expecting this one, but another application is expecting different Java 8 it is expecting. But in that case, is it possible to have multiple versions of Java installed and pointed at the same time in the server? No. But if I use multi-stage Docker file, can I do something like this? If other application is using JDK 13, can I use something like this for other application? Can I use something like this for different application like this? In the same server, can I build like this? Yes. Now, I can do like this. Instead of doing in the server directly, now instead of writing my Docker file like this, I am doing like this. In one stage, I am building that application. In one stage, I am building that application. Can I give this one name for this, like a alias as build? That is my stage name. But here, if you do like this, is this expected part of your build context now? Yes. But here, can I say something like this? Hyphen from equals to this stage. Now, but this is not correct. This is under which directory again? From the previous stage, this target folder will be under which directory? Under app. Can I give something like this? Can I give something like this? Now, so this way, I no need to do anything in the server. I no need to execute this command in the server. I am executing Docker build like this. Is that application also gets created? First, let me remove all the images so that you can understand. Let me remove all the images from this server so that you can understand. Okay, only one image is there. That there is a container for that. You can ignore that one. There is only one image available in that server, in this server, and there is a container for that server. That's why we are not able to read. You can leave it. Now let me build the image out of this Docker file. So this is my Docker file. This is my Docker file. So Is everything is going to be copied to this stage because of this copy dot dot? Is all these files like your source code, your pom.xml, everything, will it be copied? Now, I don't want this now because anyhow unnecessary time waste. Now it is going to copy everything like this. Guys, one more thing here. Sometimes in the interview they are asking one more question. Now you are trying to do something like this copy dot dot. I mean to say you are copying all the files in the build context. But is it possible for me to ignore some files from the build context, which means I don't want some files to be sent to the Docker daemon, even though I have some files here. Let's say I don't want to send this file. I don't want to copy this file, or I don't want to send this file to the image, or I don't want to copy this file, or I don't want to send the file to the image. How can we do that? Sometimes in the interview they are asking, or sometimes they are directly asking one question: what is dot docker ignore? What is dot docker ignore? They are asking one question like this: what is this dot docker ignore file? Or sometimes they are saying, I am trying to copy like this, but I want to ignore few files. These files should not be copied. Then how can I define that, right? How can I ignore those files from the build context? How can I ignore those files from the build context? There is a file called dot docker ignore file. So the way we have a dot git ignore, can I have a dot docker ignore file also to be created? Can I create this dot docker ignore file? Now here, can I have whatever files or folders to be ignored from the build context? Suppose I want to ignore these files to send to build context. This file or this folder like this. Can I add all those things to be .docker ignore file? Now, whatever is part of this .docker ignore, does these files will be sent to the build context now? To the daemon? No. Will it ignore these files? Yes. Now here, let's say here I have defined pom.xml also. Do you think that mvn clean command will work in that stage? If I add this pom.xml also to the docker ignore, do you think this command works? This command works? Let me show you. Let me show you. Now I am going to build docker build -t docker hands-on /maven -web application, whatever, like this. Now this is multi-stage docker file. If you see, is it pulling that maven base image first? That is multi-stage docker file. Is it pulling that maven base image first? Now if you see, it has created one working directory. It has executed a copy dot dot. But if you see, when it is executing maven clean package, why I am getting this error? The goal you specified requires a project to execute, but there is no pom in this directory. Even though I copied everything, why pom.xml is not copied? Even though I have given dot dot here, copy dot to the working directory of image. Because is it part of my docker ignore file? Now let me remove this. Let me remove this. Now let me build again. Now this time, is it copied that pom.xml also? Do you see that mvn clean package is working now? While creating an image itself, is it doing that mvn clean package in that stage? Is it creating a application package in that stage? But if this is the case, do I need to install Java and Maven in my build server, or that is your Jenkins server? Let's consider. Do you need to have a Java and Maven installed in Jenkins to build this if you are doing multi-stage Docker file? So do I need to configure any plugins like a Maven plugin if required? Not required, right? If I am doing this one multi-stage Docker file, I no need to configure any Maven plugin in my Jenkins also. So do you think will it be helpful while building also using multi-stage Docker file? Can you build your application package also without installing build softwares? At the same time, are you dropping everything and copying what is the outcome of that first stage to the final stage? This is very, very important. Now I have some issue. What is that issue? Let's say I am using 1.8 because I think in palm.xml, I think I have mentioned in my application palm.xml, I think we have mentioned target as Java 8, I guess. Correct? In the application palm.xml, did I mention JDK version as 1.8? Yes. But what version of the JDK I am using here? What version of the JDK I am using here? Java 7. So that's why it is not working. Now let me update my Docker file. Let me update my Docker file. Let me update my Docker file. I am going to use Java 8, maybe above 8. If required, I can use, maybe let's try this one. I can use 13 also. Now let me use this one. Let me build again. Now it is using JDK 8 with a Maven 3.6. As per my application requirement, application team says what is the target version of Java to be used to build that application package? 1.8. So as per their requirement, am I using that now as a base to build my application? Guys, I am trying to cover in and out of all the Docker concepts and use cases. So you can become an expert if you attend all the classes, if you understand all these concepts. But it will be little difficult if you are for the first time if you are listening my class. But if you go through the recordings 1 or 2 times, you can feel the difference. In the interview, let them ask any question. Whether they are expecting you as a lead or architect also, you can clear the interview. That much extent I am covering here. Now, if you see one stage, it is creating an application package. To the next stage, it is copying only that var file by dropping rest of the others. The final image out of this Docker file, will it have only that Tomcat base image with that var file created from previous stage? Yes. So if you have this type of requirements, can you use multi-stage Docker file concept? If you want to do most of it using Docker itself while building the image, you can do multi-stage. Now this stage is done. This stage is done. To the next stage, is it pulling this base image from this previous stage? Is it going to copy this far file because I have given copy hyphen from this I have given? Is it going to copy to this stage? If you see whatever is created in this stage, this var file, is it copied from that stage, this location to this location? Now, if I see these images, I can see these many images, but this is my final image. This is my final image, 498 MB. What about these dangling images? It has created 5 minutes ago, 32 seconds ago. What is this dangling image? Is this dangling image is this stage of the image, the first stage of that image? That is the first stage of that image, but it is 150 MB in size. But is it copied everything to that final stage, or just copied only that WAR file to this final stage? Only that WAR file. So does this final image has only required softwares and libraries without unnecessary files and all those things? So if you have these type of requirements, can we use multi-stage Docker file? Is everyone clear multi-stage Docker file? What is multi-stage Docker file? How it works? So not only like this, if required, can I have another stage also? I can do this in one stage. I can do one more thing in another stage. By taking whatever is required from here, I can do in something in another stage. From this stage, can I copy to the final stage also like this? Can I have something like this also, more than this? This is one stage, this is another stage, this is another stage, like this also? Yes. So this is what multi-stage Docker file. That's it about Docker file, guys. We discussed almost 5 days, almost 9 to 10 hours only on the Docker file. You can understand the importance of Docker file. Container comes from image. Image comes from where? Container comes from image. Image comes from Docker file. So whatever you wanted to have in the container, whatever you wanted to have in the container, that should be part of image. Whatever is part of image, whatever is part of your image is defined in the Docker file. So based on your instructions, does Docker image will be created with required softwares, libraries, and all those things? Yes. So that's it for today. I'll continue tomorrow on another important concept, Docker networks. And also, while discussing about Docker networks, first I will explain what is monolithic and microservice. Tomorrow we will discuss about this also, what is monolithic and what is microservice architecture. But if you have a time today, I want you to go through this video, which is already explained and uploaded in our YouTube channel. If you have a time, I recommend you to go through this one. Monolithic versus microservices. Again, I'll cover this tomorrow, but if you have a time, go through this one so that you can understand easily tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll continue about this Docker networks and monolithic and microservice. So can we say if we have more than one from statement in a Docker file, can I say it's a multi-stage Docker file? Yes, but if I have something like this, let me understand. Let me show you. Let me make you understand. Does it make any sense? If I have something like this, does it make any sense now? This is one stage, but now does this command works? If this is my Docker file, now does this command works now on top of this? No, this command will not work on top of this. So you can have multi-stage, but if you have something like this, it is multi-stage, but it doesn't make any sense. Now you are using this as a base, but are you doing anything on top of this base? No. You are doing something in this base, but does this command works if this is my Docker file like this? No. You can say if I have more than one from instruction, you can say that is multi-stage, But which doesn't mean if you define something like this, you can call this as a multi-stage. You need to have some meaningful Docker file. I hope you are clear. And again, if I do something like this here, suppose just to give an example, here I am doing something like this. Do you think this command will work now? Even though this is my multi-stage Docker file, do you think this will work in this stage? No. Okay. So multi-stage Docker file, more than one from instruction, but you need to do respective tasks in the respective stage based on your base. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I'll continue tomorrow on the this Docker networks and this monolithic and microservice. How many classes are left? Good question. Today is, I think, 11th session, right? If I am not wrong. 11th, if this is 11th, this is one day. These two, one day. Next, Docker volumes, that is also one day. Docker compose, that is also one day. Docker swap, that is 2 days. So approximately 5 to 6 classes are left. Approximately 5 to 6 classes are left with the Docker. Once the Docker is done, very important concept, Kubernetes. So how many days Kubernetes? I think I already told. It may take any time between 23 to 25 or 26 classes. It may take 23 sessions or 24 sessions, maybe 25 sessions, anytime. These many classes are required. So with this, your complete course will be done. With this, your complete course will be done. Nothing left after Kubernetes. Okay. Thank you, guys. That's it for today. Guys, how much cover, how much as a trainers we are covering one thing, at the same time, how much effort you are making from your side is also important. As I already told multiple times, it will be wasted if you don't practice or if you don't attend the classes, if you don't do the assignments. There is of no use of discussing this much in detail. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.